Hey everyone, it's Matt along with Goo, and today I'm just going to give you one hint on what our next presentation is going to be. Or you could have just looked at the screen. Stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed the trailer. I actually can't believe in Japan that's been over 15 years now. 17, basically. But, Joker Monsters is out, and our first unit here is going to be Hawkhart. Hawkhart Ace. And I'm going to be pretty honest. The first gacha is going to have 4 different S units to go through. They're going to be all 4 here. The positive is that the for high spenders, there's a lot higher chance of getting S units from the at least when it was in Japan than previous. But it is a more crowded banner. And personally, I am not a huge fan of at least the very first banner here, which is going to have the next 4 units that I talk about very, very quickly. First one is Hawkhart Ace. They are all boss units. This is a healer. Leadership increases breath power by 20%. Skills are okay in general. I like the sleep, 40% putting an enemy to sleep with a range of 3. It's wish it was a little better or it did multiple chances at that. But it's still a good skill, especially for a healing unit. You can use it to try to sleep units, and then you can cure with healing secrets, restores a large amount of HP to all allies, and can remove some ailments. And those 2 there make this unit pretty useful overall, along with the ability to increase breath power by 20%, which is great for people who use, like, say, Bahamut, Madgarou, etc. Heck, even Zoma. The leadership is actually a pretty interesting leadership skill because other than dragons, the next class that uses it are the boss or the question mark units. So that's a very good leadership skill. And the last one is Queen Volcano, so it does get some decent damage here as well with the sizzle breath damage to all enemies within range, which is actually a pretty good skill along with its leadership. Its awakening skill, the first awakening, is auto revive 99 turns with 50% max HP once. This is a great skill. Remember, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of these units out there in Guild Wars, etc., for the ability to revive. It's both a great thing for being attack and defense. So this is something that I kind of hope I can get. And if I do, I would like to get that awakening skill. The third one is 100% friends within a diamond increase at the start of the action. And the others are just for resistance or HP. It's a pretty good healing unit overall. The next one is Wulfspade Ace. This one increases physical power by 20%. First one's Confuddle, which does some confuse. So very, very good skill here. Thunder Brave is a large non-reflectable zap spell damage that's proportional to attack. And the last one's Fast Cross, which does 4 damage, 280%. Very good unit regards there. This is actually one of the units that if you pull on this banner, you're probably going to want to have. There's personally much better banners, units in the banner as well. The first Waking skill raises attack power and agility for 3 turns. This allows it to really attack first, which is kind of the goal that you want. And with Confuddle, that makes Wulfspade dangerous. And the last one, the third one has Guts. With that, the fifth one gives a 10% additional chance. I believe it's 40%. Occasionally will stay at 1 HP. 1 HP should be at 0. It brings it up to a 50-50 shot. So Wulfspade could theoretically never die if you get lucky or unlucky, depending on how you're with it. And with that and its speed and its ability to do non-reflectable zap spell damage, personally, I think is actually really, really powerful. This is an Omega killer as well. And it's kind of another reason why there's a lot of people that will pull on that 4-unit banner because of Wulfspade Ace. Clubbon Ace is the next one. Martial power by 20%. So the first one can reduce its own damage being taken in by a huge amount. Because it is a unit that guards, that's basically what you're going to really use it a large amount for. It does do some martial damage with the Otishian Pilehammer. The drawing 1 square in is a useful skill. As I say, though, the reducing own damage taken is a huge, huge thing. First Awakening gives movement. Third one will increase martial power, increase by 40%. And that 50% there can do some real heavy damage with Otashi, especially if they're weak to bang. All in all, an interesting unit, but this is not a unit you're going into that banner for. But honestly, if you do get it, it's not the worst thing. On the last one of the 4 is Diamagon Ace, which increases the spell power. So if you notice, you've got pretty much all the increases here for the question marks. Tension is very, very useful because if you could raise the tension of anyone else. So if you've got Diamagon really, really fast, you can use that to your own advantage. Has a magic burst, which deals non-reflectable spell damage, which is very, very important against units that have reflect, because Diamagon's all magic. And the last one is a random crackle spell damage to enemies 8 times. That one does a massive amount of actual damage, and is actually a really, really good skill. The only problem is its main real damage is only crackle, and not a lot of the really powerful units right now are weak to crackle. So that is kind of its big negative. I do like the magic burst. That's not reflectable, but really right now it's not the greatest unit. But once again, I wouldn't mind having one. The big thing here, though, is Awakening skill recovers 16% of max MP at the start of even turns and will raise its own tension for 1 turn on each even turn. That is huge. So you can actually kind of go raise someone else's tension, or do a big Hydromina. It will recover 16% of its MP, which if you get it to 1, it's about 400. that should get you around 80 MP, and you can start noticing you can really do a lot of crackle damage over a long period of time. For big boss battles, if they're weak to crackle or even neutral to crackle, this is a great skill because a lot of times that they have immunity for, say, 3 or 5 different hits. That will get you through it and still do some good damage. The third one is Race Agility at start of battle for 3 turns, which is pretty good. And the last one is the Magic Runaway at 5%. So if you see a 5 heart Diamagon Ace, make sure that you are strong against Crackle. And even so, Tiny Magic Bursts will still do a maximum amount of damage. Remember, that though does 30% of max NP, but it does a good amount of damage for that non-reflectiveness. Now we're going into the single banners here. Dr. Snapped increases martial power by 15%. First one, Dark Aura has a 40% chance of lowering attack, defense, wisdom, and agility for 3 turns. That can be very, very powerful. The next one is Dragging In, which can deal heavy martial damage to enemies. If you time it correctly, will pull them back 3 squares, or up to 3 squares, I should say. That is really, really useful. And if you can do it correctly, you can take away units that are being protected by selflessness, and that is incredibly powerful. The last one's Hazard Press, which deals heavy zam martial damage to enemies, and you move up to 3 squares, and you have a high chance of inflicting deadly poison and reduce HP recovery for 3 turns, which once again is really, really useful for teams that are bunkered in. First Awakening is gives it more agility to move and reduce damage 30% for the first 3 turns. Dr. Snap really needs that because you're really going to try to be using him more for like the dragging in to move enemies to where you want, or even more importantly, if Dr. Snap can move really, really fast first, you can pull one enemy back, destroy them, and then the defending team entire structure will be hurt greatly. And if you can leave Dr. Snap, you'll be leaving Dr. Snap in a little bit more of a weakened position. But with that reduced damage 30%, you might have enough HP to survive that. Then at that point, you really have the upper hand in like Guild Wars or Arena battles. It actually can be also useful in PvP as well, because not many people are prepared for Dr. Snap to be on the screen. The third one, raise martial potency on the number of enemies hit per turn. Generally, as I say, you're going to be using him for dragging in. But then on turn 2, if you have there, you can use like Hazard Press if you hit them hard, which will have increased damage overall. But as I say, I think most people will see just the 1 heart Dr. Snap, which is actually a really good control of space unit in general. And the last one here is if attacked by enemy within 1 to 3 range, Dark Aura is occasionally cast, and that deals. That could be pretty scary when you see attack, defense, wisdom, and agility lowered. That just really destroys you.
Sizer or
the last one here is Wildcard or Joker. Increases Zam physical power by 20%. Very interesting. Has 2 different elements here, whoosh and zap. And it should be zap, not zam. I'm sorry. It's zap physical power. Miracle Wave here, 200% whoosh damage to an enemy and 50% HP recovery. Kadunk does major spell damage and often will hobble. And the last one here is Northlight Slash with this huge 400% zap physical damage to an enemy. Overall, Awakening skill, odd number turns, raise attack, defense, agility, and wisdom for 3 turns until turn 10. So it will power itself up. At turn 3, it starts doing some really heavy damage all the way till turn 11. The third one is reduced damage by 20% for 3 turns. So on top of that, it becomes really hard to kill on turn 3, and the rest are just skills itself. Um, it is a pretty good unit. If you look at the Miracle Wave, it has a huge range of 4 and will give itself HP back. Donk is a short range but has a huge area, and Northlight Slash is only a 2 range, but it does incredible damage overall. So with that, it is a very, very good unit and probably the top unit on the banner to go for. The free unit is Ace of Spades. That is the Zam power, physical power by 20%. Did not change the top one, so I do apologize there. Oomph is just your normal oomph, which is always a great skill to have. Bloody Roar deals heavy martial damage and occasionally inflict stun and poison. That 40% of stun and poison is huge. Obviously, when you level it up, it becomes higher. Plus, if they're already weak to stun and or poison, it becomes nearly a guaranteed hit. That is going to be the main thing for the Ace of Spades. The Evil Hand, which does 250% Zam physical damage on all enemies, is a great skill for damage. But as I say, Bloody Roar is the main skill that is going to be used with people who bring this into arena and all that because of that stun. You can 5-heart him. It's actually easier of a 5-heart than the War of the Vision skills. The first one, when attacked by enemy, recovers 10% of max HP. It's not a really super defensive unit, but you should have it 5-hearted throughout the event. The event is a little lighter on events to go through, but is fairly annoying, and I'll kind of explain why just a little bit later. If HP is less than 50%, damage is reduced by 30% for the 100 HP. So what's going to be interesting with the Ace of Spades, if you're going to bring them into like arena type events, you might be better off going more HP than agility, and just trying to keep up the HP so that you can get to this reduced damage by 30%. Because you're either going to want to be full, because the fifth one, if HP is full, damage is increased by 20%. Or you're going to want to be under 50% to have the higher reduced damage. It's a pretty good S unit. It's a pretty good S unit overall. But as I say, most importantly is Bloody Roar. The symbol units for Joker is Prettypunk. I believe that's going to be the name. That's the unit that I could find closest to this translated. It's an okay unit. It's pretty good for Sizz attacking. Has Magical Awakening, which increases own spell power for 1 turn. The others are just frizzle spell damage. The third awakening is the Weird Awakening, which has uses. If your team is weak against sleep, third awakening will awaken slept friends range from 1 to 3 up to 4 times. Actually has uses, but it's not a great unit overall. The solo units for Dr. Snap is Wailin Weed. From the coloring, it looks like it's wailing. I could have the coloring a little bit wrong, just going from the Joker game itself. So I'm thinking it's wailing. With the curse song, occasionally curses an enemy. The Mouth Sealing song has a high chance to seal spell or breath of an enemy. Wailin Weed is going to be the bane of powerful dragon or breath teams. This is a unit that I do not want to be facing, as I have a high breath team for myself. The last one is Hallowing Voice, which deals martial damage to enemies. Leadership effect is very interesting. Now, this unit has incredibly high HP and defense for an A level. This, as I say, I'm almost more interested in picking up 5 Wailin Weed than I am even of 1 of Dr. Snapped. But more than likely, though, It's not a unit that you have to have, and I'm not just saying that because I don't want people to be bringing them out. But unless if you know you're facing a breath team, there's not really much of a use for Wailin Weed. Curse is an okay skill, but the sealing spell and breath and getting rid of spell and breath teams, especially and it's only one person, but still getting rid of a very powerful one, um, for even for just that turn, can really turn a battle or help you kill a Zenlon and have Wailin Weed mouth seal, so then it has no chance of healing itself. That's one way that you can bring it as well. So it's a pretty good unit overall, as I said, for an A unit. And if you've got, if you're not going to pull for Dr. Snapped and you would like it, this is a pretty good golden ticket candidate. For the farmable units, you have Liege Lizard. It's actually a pretty good speed and attack unit, especially for farming. Ace of Spades is going to be your most important one. This is a decent unit overall. From an ace standpoint, you can get it to 5 hearts fairly easily. I'll explain to you how we can do it, and I'm not a fan, but I'll get to it in just a little bit here. But this is a Frizz and Sizz damage deal combo. The important parts here: has additional move with First Awakening, and the fifth one can actually attack with a heavy blow if you're within 1 square of attack. And interesting, you'd be like, whoa, 2 of those are range 3. Dragon Fang, though, is a unit, something that will move the Liege Lizard up and still have a chance to, with a 40% chance. So it's basically a 50%, half and half, just a little less than that. Still to be able to do heavy blow. It's just the ball, the Sizz breath damage that it won't be able to affect. So it's a pretty good Fifth Awakening skill if you get there. The other A unit, and I'm not going to go through everything here, but it's either going to be Invictus or Wulfspade. I don't know how they're going to name this. Invictus is the main name for the entire species of Joker, or at least it was for the first Joker. Or was it the first 2? I can't remember. I know the third one, they brought him into the question mark family. But that's the whole family name. I'm just putting his Wulfspade there because that's how we first met him. You will have a tree like we did with Hero. There is going to be 3 sets of skills that you can choose from. And so here's like the first one here with like Side Screw, Fighting Heal, or Septio Guard, Septio Rush, Septio Explosion, Septio Cry. When we get this event, I will go through it in more detail for everybody. It is really confusing to do it without having to show it on the screen. So instead, you're going to be able to farm it with 3 different skills that you could choose, along with 3 different upgrades. And like the third awakening, you can choose like a physical, spell, or martial skill upgrades. Fifth one could be HP, MP, and stuff like that. We'll go through all of that there. It does have a movement +1 that you can upgrade. And I'll kind of explain a little bit more detail what each of them are, kind of what you should go for. But it's also dependent on what units you're going or your play style. And so with that, I'll kind of just go through the Incarnus Wulfspade growth. The first branch requires 1,260 bonds. So this is going to be the most bang for your buck, or bonds. And total, you'll get some skills. You'll get 30 HP, 30 MP, 18 attack, defense, agility, and wisdom each. Then you get another like branch, and you'll you see with this picture here that you'll gain an extra 5 of all the other skills throughout that. You can get 200 of these through the coins that you can get throughout the event, and the rest you have to farm. If you want it to be max, max, max everything, you're going to have to farm 3060. At the very least, you should go through 1260. The good news is almost anything you do with this, you will farm a couple, potentially one for every time you do something. So it does add up. There is one event here that if you've got everything else done, you can get multiples of those to help it go faster. This is the annoying part. Once again, Joker is a good game. The event is just annoying. Not a huge fan. But there's another annoyance here, and it's with these other farmable units along with the A unit. And it's not that it's the units that are the problem. Honestly, the B, C, and D aren't the biggest. Ooh, wow. Even though I do want my slime tower, that is going to be something that I'm going to farm for first. It's not the greatest unit, but it's a slime tower and slimes. But just kind of going through how to do this, and I know that we're going to, as this is a little short, and I'm going to go back. You have to farm intermediates to get to the big ones, and I will explain why that's so annoying and why I really, really, really wish Dragon Quest Tech wouldn't do this anymore. But they only do it like once every 6 events, so it's not a real big deal, but it's a big annoyance for me. All right, so the event S weapons and A weapons, honestly, they're pretty good. The Noble Sword here, which is from the Joker boss battle, this is great for, I believe, Joker with the Miracle Slash, Northlight Slash. Yes, that's correct. HP, attack, and agility. The Divine Beast with the Speedio Rush, Burst, Cry, and all of that. That is going to be great for Incarnus. We have Rapid Cross, Thunder Break. I actually forgot who King Halberd's for. And then we have Mysterious Claw as well. And I believe that's actually for the A unit. We have Jack Claw, Ace Wand, Demon's Blade, and Quinn Dagger. I like Ace Wand with the spell power. It is great for our one caster, Digimon, along with Jack Claw with the physical power. But we also get another new recovery power unit. I know that it's for our one healer that we get the first one that we went through. But if you don't get the unit, it's another unit. It's another item that you can get for recovery power, and gives the healings. You can use it to also increase like MP if you need to. There's still better ones overall, but I do like seeing more recovery power weapons personally. But from these here, you're good at. There's not that many different areas you could see. Most of them are from around the world, which we'll talk about. There's some demon instructor stuff, but most of this material is going to be focused on around the world trip here. This is going to be in the first week of the event. It's just the most basic battle set that you've seen. You see the 4 here. So you'll be able to farm what we call divine beasts here, and a different weapon to farm. You're going to be farming each of these, and so you're going to have a pretty large set overall of materials. So you'll have the top 2 here is for the Green Lantern, and the bottom 2 here is for the Slime Tower. Basically, you're going to be farming this primarily for that. The other 2, you'll just be, most likely, people are going to be here to farm for the monsters, and the weapon drops that we get are just going to be niceties. These Speedium Metals here is going to be, honestly, the very end that you need to cover. And we're probably going to be farming for the most part, most likely at the very end, just for the Speedio Metal. So every time you get a few, you just go, yeah, I don't need any more. Yeah, you will, most likely. Especially with the first week, you're not going to be able to get through most of what Speedio can do. The next one, which will be on the second delivery, which is usually about 8 days afterwards, is the Nameless Island capture. This is where you can get the Liege Lizard and our D unit here. So you will have these 4 divine beasts that you will be farming, and these are how you can combine them. The big issue I have with these type of events is that I have a hard time keeping track of how many of each of the 2 that I have and need, and trying to get them is just a giant pain in the butt to keep track of. So usually what happens is so you need to get 40 of them total. I will get 60 of this and 37 of that and realize, oh, I still need 3 more, and I wasted so much energy farming here. The good news is we need these Speedios, so it's not as much of a waste this time, but more of the grind is not the answer here. And so that's why I'm not a huge fan of this event. I'd rather for them to drop it. These do drop more consistently, so it makes you feel more like you're getting through this. It is a 1-to-1 ratio, so as I say, generally here you only need to get through a certain amount to get through, and it's pretty consistent, but still, it is mildly annoying that you have to go through all that. The compounding office is basically just going to be where you have a maid. This was taken off into Japan. As I say, I'm not a huge fan of the system. Is this hard? No. But still, it's just likely to waste your energy. And, right now, I'm pretty much done with the War of the Visions event. I've been able to farm so many books and a little bit of the rank ups that I want right now. And it's been really, really helpful to start beefing up some other units I don't use as much. And I would prefer to be able to do that than waste energy here. Now, we do have a couple of events. First one is the Joker capture event. You'll gain King Spadio medals. I apologize. These are earned mostly through missions at very hard and below. At the EX level, you get icons, and the initial victory will give you 1 for each of the missions here. You can farm 2 rainbow orbs and a set of 10 each of these Spadios for 120 total, which is actually kind of helpful to help out some of the Speedios. There are 6 different, you're going to be basically fighting every single S unit that can be summoned or farmed. All of these teams are free to play. Actually, almost all of them are farmable. This is the only one I think the unit out of all of them that didn't have farm. And that's more because we needed her specific element. The only unit that has not come out yet is our dressed up Frankenstein monster, dressed up golem. I believe they call him Frankenstein because that was from the Halloween event that was in between currently what's in War of the Visions and Dragon Quest Joker. If we don't have the Halloween event, I apologize, but you can kind of just exchange him, especially since I believe that you only need 200 units anyways. You can change him for another high-end shield unit, and that will be fine. He wasn't too demanding overall. But from a, and theoretically, Great Dragon's not a farmable unit either, but it's an original unit, so it doesn't feel as bad. Most of these units are pretty free to play friendly, especially if you've been playing for the long haul. If you're new, and I do know a couple people have been talking to me that aren't new, there's a lot of plug and play options here. If you've got any questions, you can just ask me here. But the very hard fights are pretty easy if you have the correct units. So I just kind of put all 6 together here. As I say, from a free-to-play standpoint, there's going to be a lot of other ways you could beat this. So this is just a quick blueprint overall. It is very hard. And the good news is, as I say, is that they are going to actually not pain people for not going through EX. So you'll be able to get all of these rainbow orbs plus a decent amount of the Spadio, which honestly are not that hard to farm, to just require energy. So you're not really missing anything if you have a slightly weaker team with that event there. We have also the Ace of Spades boss battle. Um, this one has, I believe, 4 different, 4 different um, levels here that you can go through. You can get the Ace of Spade Awakening Crystals and Demon Blade as well from this boss battle. The EX, you're only going to really go most likely once. You're going to be farming very hard otherwise. And for that, the Ace of Spades has agility just under 500, 499. You're going to want 2 units to have slightly higher, but your the Black Dragon is going to be 422, and the other unit will be 366. Claria is going to be the one unit that you kind of are going to try to heal after the Black Dragon. Pretty much the rest of the units there, you're just going to be A-OK going with the in between the Demon King and all that. And this one, the free-to-play version here, use Mont just because of the ability to be using as a tank. Doesn't need to be exactly Mont, but if you don't have Mont, just because of the way that the skills are through it there, then you'll have to work your way up a little bit more and won't be as free-to-play friendly. But most importantly, you can get another Rainbow Orb. You can get a total of 25 question mark shards, and you can get 80 more Spadios. And last but not least, we have our 2 battle roads. First one is I'm calling it the Incarnus Spadio here, which basically includes all of the Incarnus other than Joker. There's a lot of new units here. Unfortunately, it is weighted a little higher than some of the others because there are 4 S's that can be available. You're going to be focusing on this just because at the very least you'll have 3 of the 5 new units here. The rest of these are all world units. In fairness, I don't have very many of these very high level. So this is going to be one of those battle roads because I'm not planning on pulling these very hard at all. That it's going to be a little bit annoying for me to get past rank 7 compared to a lot of the others, but it's not that hard. It's just I won't be able to auto it on the first day. The last one is the Ace of Spades Battle Roads. This one is going to be much easier for almost everybody. All of these units except for the 2 here, Wailin and Dr. Snapped are going to be either farmable or units that you can already farm. If you don't have them, you'll be able to just click on. And let me just show you real quickly too. I know some people are like, "Oh, I don't know how to find it." If you don't know where, they will tell you exactly where it goes when you can go with like the Dancing Flame. It's just an example here, and you can see that actually I need to farm that up a little bit more. But that's pretty much going to be the Joker event. That's our next really big one. As I say, at the time of me presenting this, I will not know that if we are having the Halloween event yet. I do expect to have the Halloween event in between. If not, you can expect this in about 9 days. It's going to be another 40-day event. So I do, as I say, I do expect the Halloween to be in between. So I am going to have the full trailer from 2006 right after this. So I hope you guys do enjoy. And more importantly,
見渡す限りの世界を自由に冒険。迫り来るモンスターたちとの戦いに挑む。強力なモンスターはスカウトして自分の仲間に。モンスターを配合すれば新たなモンスターが誕生。モンスターを育てモンスターマスターの頂点を目指せ。通信バトルがさらなる戦いの高みへいざなう。任天堂 DS 用ソフト「ドラゴンクエストモンスターズジョーカー」12月28日発売。